What is going on, NFL fans and non-Falcons fans, man? Y'all know who it is, your boy Antoine Smith. Stopping in right quick to give y'all my quick thoughts on my reaction to Mel Kiper's draft grade for the Atlanta Falcons. And I'm going to warn y'all before y'all get into this, not pleasant. But y'all know me, I give my quick thoughts on things. But if y'all want to check out my draft grade for the Atlanta Falcons, please go check out this video right here. And y'all to get my grade for the Atlanta Falcons for the 2026 NFL Draft. But here's what Mel Kiper had to say. Now, let's get into what Mel Kiper had to say. He picked a grade for all 32 teams. He says he was initially impressed with the Falcon picks on day 2, which was Avion Terrell, Zachariah Branch, and we all were pretty happy with those picks because a lot of Falcon fans expected those 2 guys to go. Now, there were a little divide with the fan base between cornerback and defensive tackle, and rightfully so, because the Falcons finished 24th in rushing last year, and I think they needed a space eater. So I kind of, know which way they went with it. But I'm gonna be real with y'all. He gave them a C plus. No, I didn't agree with it, but on the other hand, I understood it, from his standpoint. But let me just give y'all input into what he had to say. He thought the Falcons did well with just the 5 picks that they had. He said Ian Cunningham and Coach Stefanski and Matt Ryan did what they could with the 5 picks. And he think on day 2, they had 2 really, really good players. Avion, Zachariah, both spent time in his top 25. And they was on his favorite players list. So, he puts together a list with his top players in the draft. And, both of those guys, and don't get me wrong, both of them were just a tad bit undersized, but at their position, they were 2 of the best. So when you look at it, he loved what they did with those 2 picks, and then this is the reason why it went downhill from there. So it said, why did Kiper get him a final draft grade over C? Due to team lack of first-round pick. Secondly, he was not impressed with the day 3 selections. So, lack of first-round pick, we know that with James Pierce Jr. If he makes it out of that situation that he's in, that draft still turned out to be a winner. Because guess what? He had 10.5 sacks last year. So they still won. But this is what he had to say about day 3, and this is why he dropped it down to a C+. Because with those first 2 picks, myself, I thought it was an A+. But he said the rest of the selection left a lot to be desired. Atlanta didn't take an offensive tackle to Ethan Anawada in the 7th round. Harold Perkins Jr. has a chance to make an impact, but Kevin Stefanski needs to figure out his real position. No first rounder and only a handful of selections hurt the Falcons, but their day 3 haul wasn't very impressive. And, like I said, I get what he's saying about that, but at the point where they are, I think they were drafting for need, and they drafted, who was on the board. Because really, think about it. If you're watching the board, the Falcons got jumped by 2 or 3 times, and it started out with Jeremy Bernard in the 2nd round. Because I think if they don't take Avion Terrell, if the Steelers don't jump up and take Jeremy Bernard, that's their pick. The Steelers jumped up right in front of them just to do that. Then later in the draft, it happened again. So these are the type of things that happen. The players that are on your board are only good as who's on the board. And like I said, this draft would have went a whole nother direction had the Steelers hadn't jumped the Falcons in the 2nd round. Yeah, Zachariah Branch might not be here. Avion Terrell might not be here. But guess what? I still thought they would have had a good draft. And maybe they wouldn't have went offensive tackle if one of the ones they wanted was on the board. Because think about it. As I told y'all before the draft, I feel like Christian Miller was one of the top, choices after going to Georgia's Pro Day. Zachariah Branch was another one. Dalen Everett was drafted by the Pittsburgh Steelers. I think that was another one of the targets. So offensive tackle, to me, I think they solidified the position. They think with Jawan Taylor, and they got a viable backup in Storm Norton, and maybe, one of these undrafted free agents or one of the guys they have on the roster right now in the practice squad or the futures contract could come in and fill in. But I agree, they could have went better at offensive tackle. because there were guys on the board in the second and third round, but they feel like those skills positions were much more needed. But C plus. That's a pretty tough grade, but like I said, I see both sides of the coin, and I'm not gonna hassle with it. But hey, it is what it is. And that's what he had to say, man. He gives them a C plus. Do I agree with it? No. Did he make some valid points? Absolutely. Um, Started off promising with the first two picks he thought, but it dropped off towards the tail end. And like I said, I get where he's coming from. Everybody's entitled to their opinion. But let me know your opinion on this topic, man. Drop them comments in the comment box. Let's debate. Let's have fun as always, man. And as I always say, hype me up. And thank y'all for watching, man. I'll talk to y'all soon. Peace.